Hey guys, it's the Gundam Boy, and today we're going to be taking a look at the solo silo. And just before we start the video, I gotta say, I was playing some No Man's Sky. I just discovered the gas giant, and I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, look at that, there goes the Rupture Warriors. Just removed, deleted from existence. But let's get straight into it. If you're looking to get this weapon for yourself, you can get it from the Dusty Butthole Warbond. So when you call down the solo silo, it will have a cooldown of 2 minutes and 31 seconds. To actually use the solo silo, you do need to carry this little designator, which takes up the slot of a support weapon. There's nothing unique to the actual laser pointer itself, it's just a laser pointing tool to guide your missile. And it's as easy as pointing and clicking to fire your missile. So you can just let it fly to whatever the target is and annihilate that direction. If you're a lazy person and you want to go across the map to hit a base that you completely forgot about, then you can use this long range to just hit whatever it is you can see. I'm talking 561 meters long range, and I don't even think that's its limit. Let's briefly talk about the projectile itself, because it does have a very big play in your combat. The silo splits its damage into two parts, the blast and the actual projectile. The explosion effect on the left side actually does a good bulk of the damage, but its inner penetration's only at 7, whereas the actual impact of the missile itself is at anti-tank level 9. So while you may take out a large group of chaff surrounding the heavy unit, if you don't hit it directly, it's not going to kill them. A better example is when I tried to annihilate 2 Bile Titans, but they weren't close enough for the explosion to really put them both down. But it did get him into a bleed out state. I must be bleeding out because I called down a precision. And since the solo silo has a long recharge time, you should make sure that you have a very clear target on the enemy or the thing that you want to annihilate, because it could be a really quick way to waste a missile and you'll have to wait again. Now, if I could just get this missile to die, I could show you the... Why isn't this dying? Hello? Hello? After convincing it to explode with a high explosive, you can see my target designator drop out of my hand. A good indicator that your solo silo has been destroyed. No, you didn't misplace it, and no, you don't have to mention. But a clumsy mech diver did step on it, and the reason why it died is because it only has 200 health to its name. And you should be careful while targeting flying enemies especially, because sometimes the solo silo likes to act a little quirky. And I mean like...
knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't.
Stop it! Stop doing that!
Subtracting where it is from where it isn't.
Where is it gonna go?
It isn't from where it is.
What the? Where'd it go?
Greater.
If I was just a few feet to the right, I would have been completely new. Nothing like a missile flying around at uncontrolled speeds, ready to bust its explosion everywhere to really make you nervous. And if you're worried that it has a despawn time, I haven't been able to find anything since I've been using it, and I definitely don't have the patience to not fire it if it does have a time limit, so it shouldn't just randomly vanish unless someone or something destroys it. But what can you use the solo silo for? Well, you can use it for base killing, countering heavy units, nuking the automaton's gardening group on Wednesdays. And that's just a general use of this weapon, but how do you use it within certain missions? You can utilize this on the bot front to annihilate command bunkers within a single missile. If the motor emplacement is set just right, you can actually kill all 3 of them in one missile as long as you place it in a good position. While Spore Spears aren't necessarily a hard thing to destroy, if you're lazy and don't want to go across the map to destroy a giant mushroom, you can send a missile to do it. And even if you don't destroy the base, you can still use it to tenderize the enemy forces, and you can use it generally on any enemy reinforcement. But like a nursing spear that ate something that he shouldn't have like I told him to, what should you not use the solo silo for? Unfortunately, due to the lack of demolition power, the solo silo can't do jack against the stratagem jammer, so make sure you keep something that can. However, if you are going up against the stratagem jammer, it still offers the ability to nuke the area to clear the enemies out, so you can go in and personally beat the shit out of an automaton that looked at you funny. The gunship fab is another one that you can't really do anything against. If you thought they're gonna destroy the infested towers on the bug front, it actually does nothing. But the automaton command bunker can't survive. Didn't seem right, so I tried it again, and of course, when the missile landed right on top of the building, it did nothing. Against the Dragon Roach, I wouldn't recommend it, as you really do need to focus pointing the laser at him, and even then, sometimes he will survive. While you can kill it if you can hit its ass or its head specifically, that is going to be a little hard to do with the fact that this guy moves. It does cripple the dragon severely because I was able to kill it a few minutes later with the AR. That could be a matter of the fire damage in this game is busted. Who knows? Definitely don't use it for petty reasons like your least favorite enemy in the game needs to be annihilated off the surface of the map, but do it anyways, it'll make you feel good. So with that all out of the way, let's look into some tips that I have about this weapon. And I'm not talking about what the Minecraft YouTubers have in store for children. So if you're going to be using the silo at long ranges, I would absolutely recommend you have a weapon that has a long range scope. Because even though it looks like it has a 4x scope, on the Deadeye, which also has the 4x scope, you can see there's a big difference. This makes it a lot easier to single out targets than having to squint and lean really close to the monitor and hope that you hit your target. If you're really worried about your fragile little missile silo dying, the best thing I can honestly tell you to do is just leave, because the enemy spawns are always orientated around you. So if you can drop that down as fast as possible and run away, you should have no problem with your silo getting destroyed. The smoke nade is also a good option for covering your silo so that enemies don't detect it while you're trying to leave the area, because I was surprised about how effective it was, because I was worried those two berserkers were going to take down my silo before I got to use it. Just like the orbital precision strike, you should keep in mind what direction you're actually attacking from, as it can easily be blocked by something like a building, and nothing's more exhausting than seeing your missile be wasted for another 3 minutes. If you play a hit and run style, then the solo silo is a perfect option for you, because despite the missile landing and making a big ass explosion, there's no way for the enemies to track it back to you, especially at longer ranges, and by the time they call in a bot drop, you'll already be gone. But there is an exception to this. Both the base cannon and the factory strider can track you pretty damn well, and they know where you are. But maybe not the base cannon, but definitely the factory strider. That guy spotted me and immediately started shooting on my position. However, while it's a fun stratagem, I will have to acknowledge it's kind of strange that they didn't give it the 50, demolition power to be able to take down bigger structures. Like, it has a pretty lengthy cooldown time. I don't think it'd be too out of reach to try give it like a bigger demolition power, and even then, just extend the time. But when you think about it from a single player perspective, you have to wait You have to wait 2 minutes and 32 seconds for your stratagem to cool down. So if it was the demolition power to take out stratagem jammers, it would be pretty good. But it would be cracked if the entire team brought it. But even then, it's not like the ultimatum problem where everybody can just supply pack their giant bomb-blowing base. But I think the overall cons of this stratagem, like it being flimsy to all hell, and it takes up a support weapon slot and a stratagem slot, I feel like it wouldn't be too out of reach to give it like a little bit demolition power. Come on, give it more boom power, I don't know. But that's only my opinion. Really does save me that walk when I realize there's a base I missed. But that is the end of my video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more of my videos, and I'll see you guys later.